Hey there guys, CJ here. So today I am here to finish off my Pick-Ems series. We're going to start things off with a quick form check-in. So before you, you will notice that you see a list of the top 15 players from the major so far. Going into things, we have Donk at number 1, ZywOo at number 2, Nico at number 3, m0NESY number 4, and Senzu at number 5, who we'll get into a minute briefly. Just going over our opening matchups. Mongols versus Maus each have one player in the top 15. Spirit versus Liquid. Spirit has 3. Liquid has 1. Heroic has 1 versus G2's 2. Vitality has all 5 of their players in the top 15 of the event. Allow me to restate that. Vitality has all 5 of their players at 1.15 or higher going into the playoffs of this event to phases 0. So I think that this is obviously not to be a stats meister. I'm not going to rely 100% on the stats to inform my decision, but I think it is worth doing a quick form check-in to see where some of these teams are, especially people like FaZe, especially people like Snacks for G2, who is actually on pace to have his career best event, despite Malbs being a bit wanting right now. Malbs is capable of waking up at any point in the playoffs. And FaZe, most notably Brokey, being a .90 for an AWPer. For a man who was my favorite aggressive AWPer for a very long time, that's very upsetting to see. But more importantly, doubling back in a year of fantastic riflers and fantastic rookies and young riflers in general, Senzu is an 18-year-old rifler for the Mongols who is putting up a 1.27 rating overall in the event so far. And I'll remind you that his path through to the playoffs was Maus, G friggin' 2, and Heroic. And this guy, against all 3 of these, save one map against Heroic, the opening map against Heroic, put up a 1.18 or higher. This kid is everything we have wanted for Asian CS, and in a year of other riflers getting their flowers and other young talents being celebrated, I think that he should be celebrated above all as well. Going into the previous predictions that I made, I managed to get 4 of the remainder teams, 1 of the 3-0 teams, and 1 of the 0-3 teams, but overall managed to predict 7 of the 8 teams advancing, with Na'Vi being in place of Spirit, who I predicted would not make it through in my swing for the fence that I took and missed. Big whoop. Had Big going through pretty confidently with how they barely squeaked by, and by going through I mean going out of 3. Overall, nice. Getting into the actual predictions for the playoffs, I have Maus going over the Mongols, as I went over before. I believe Senzu is a phenomenal talent and will do everything in his power to make this not happen, and they will have the sort of home team crowd buff, hopefully. But I believe that Maus just overall will outplay them as a team, despite the calling actually also being decent on both sides. I just believe that across the board, Maus are a higher caliber player, and they're just overall higher rated as well and are in better form. Moving on to Spirit versus Liquid, I believe the same thing is in play here. I believe that no one on Liquid could even come close to matching up to Donk and Shiro. Ultimate could match up with Shiro ratings-wise, but form-wise, he's on par to do that. But individually, I think that just if Donk shows the form that he showed in the previous stage of the major, there's no one on Liquid who could begin to stop him. Going on to G2 versus Heroic, I believe that m0NESY and Nico will match up well against Nertz and Dexter. If Donk can't outdo Nico, neither can Nertz, even though I do love Nertz, I'm a huge fan. Dexter could take over at any time, but so can m0NESY, and he has been fairly boilerplate so far going into the major, despite the fact that he's putting up a 1.3 rating. Oh, he's boilerplate. He's already hitting simple status, where saying he's phenomenal is par for the course. Going on to Vitality versus FaZe, I will remind everyone that FaZe's AWPer as a 0. rating and not great going up against one of the best AWPers of all time. One of the best AWPers in the world and one of the best players of all time in ZywOo, and a Vitality that are on major winning form in my opinion. Going into the semifinals, I have Spirit moving on over Mouse because despite Mouse's history of being able to corral stars, I believe that Mouse will not be able to outperform the peaks that Donk will be able to bring, especially with what he has shown thus far in the major. But then going on to the pseudo actual grand final of the major, the winner of this match, G2 versus Vitality, will decide the winner of the major, in my opinion. Because if you go off of any other results, nothing else really matters, in my opinion. If Spirit make it to the final and it's up against G2, G2 have kicked their butt 6 ways to Sunday every single time they've met in a grand final. They're just lucky it's not a best of 5. If Vitality meet anybody else in the grand final, I believe that they are entirely capable of kicking their butts as well. Vitality currently is overall in better form than G2, but as I highlighted in the stats forum check-in, Snacks is having a G2 in Jersey career best. So if Malbs manages to wake up, they will have their 3-star core already on fire. So it could basically, this is still anyone's game. It's just that Vitality is currently on form to win it, and so the analyst in me would have to say that Vitality are likely the ones to win it, but the fan in me wants G. Going on to the finals, I believe that Vitality are in form better across the board as a team than Spirit. So I believe that while Zywoo can match up with Donk, the rest of Spirit will be what lets him down and raises up Vitality to take them over the edge for the victory. Now, while this I believe to be the most likely outcome, my heart of hearts wants it for G2. But, as I said before, that semifinal matchup between G2 and Vitality is basically the major final for all intents and purposes, as the winner of that is likely to go on to win the whole shebang. Where do you guys think I'm wrong? Where do you guys think I'm right? Let's enjoy the rest of the major and let me know down below. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and I have been CJ.